Good morning. My name is Teresa Doherty. I am the coordinator for Business and Information Technology programs here in Virginia Beach. And it's my pleasure to take you through the Advanced Computer Information Systems curriculum training and updates for the 2020-2021 school year. So this is going to be a relatively brief training because those of you who are teaching ACIS have already taught CIS, and so you're relatively familiar with how all of that works. So what I'm going to do is move us forward into the Schoology group for ACIS, talk about a couple of things, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So let me start by sharing my screen with you and get us over here. So what you should be looking at is the Schoology group for Advanced Computer Information Systems. And this is the second year of a 2-year course. So students would typically take the Computer Information Systems course the first year, and they would take the Advanced CIS course the second year. And this is just kind of a landing page that tells you a little bit more about what they're doing. But essentially, and we did move from 2016 to Office 365 this year, so we're going to need to update a couple of things there. But essentially, they're taking what they learned in that first year and they're building on it in the second year, with our primary focus being on the Microsoft Office suite. So the idea would be that they would get their Word, Excel, PowerPoint kind of certifications taken care of in the first year, and then they would move on to those expert levels in this class. We're going to spend most of our time over here in the resources section. So I'm going to click on that. And I want to draw your attention first to the orange folder that's at the very top that says training and updates. When this recording is completed, this is where that will be uploaded. And essentially it'll be a link to a YouTube channel that has all of the recordings for training and updates for courses that are business and information technology. So that's where that will live. We are going to spend most of our time today in this green folder that's virtual learning, and that's because it's got an updated pacing guide and it has some new information about online resources and what's changed with course competencies this summer, that kind of thing. So that's mostly where we're going to be. Traditionally, you would be looking through the rest of these. As I said before, if you're teaching ACIS, you have already taught CIS, so you are more than familiar with Schoology platform and certainly how the format of our courses look inside our groups. So I'm going to leave that to you to explore on your own time, and we're going to jump right in here. One of the biggest changes for the 2020-2021 school year is the fact that we are shifting to a 4x4 pacing. So that of course has made a big difference in the pacing for our course. So one of the first things that we did was create at least a pacing guide for the first 9 weeks. And we'll see how this goes. I do think we're probably going to need to adjust some of that pacing, especially because we have a bit of a mixed learning environment this school year, with at home and face-to-face and possibly going back and forth between those two depending on health metrics. So we just have the first 9 weeks right now, and I think that's probably good enough for where we need to be. What you'll notice on the left is that it just takes you through each week, and the second column here, that topic, is really the unit that you're in. And this does tie to the resources that you see under the red resource folder. So those units haven't changed. It's just the timing, the pacing of it that's changed. So what you're looking at, you'll see, I think for the first 2 weeks, we're working on word processing functions. And technically that's about 4 weeks worth of work because we're on a 4x4 schedule. And that's why I said I just feel like, especially at the advanced level, it just depends on how much, how strong your students are to begin with and how much you're able to move forward through. The students are still going to need time to actually synthesize that information and understand it well enough to do something with it. So we may need to adjust some of that, but that's what we've got right now. In the third column are the resources. Some of these should be pretty familiar to you. If you're doing an advanced, teaching an advanced class, then you've already been in the Imagine Academy, you already know what Geometrics is. The only thing that would really be new to you would be the BE Publishing. These competencies should be accurate. I think the Advanced Computer Information Systems is one of the courses that I'm sure that I've already done to make sure that the competencies are updated, and what you see here is reflective of what you're going to see on the VDOE website for the competencies for this course in the 2020-2021 school year. And I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But anyway, this is kind of what you're gonna see. The only thing that I shifted around that is different from what's in our regular resources was the database and the multimedia. So I did that mostly because I just didn't think we were gonna be able to get through that database and the multimedia within the time frame that we needed for the pacing. So what I did is I shifted that database down, and it would now show up in week 10 or 11 versus week 6, which I think is where it would have been initially. This way you have the multimedia presentations and you have the desktop published documents that kind of go together. And the thought behind that was these 3 things are all software functions that the students are familiar with. So database is not something that they cover in the first year, but Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are. So they already have a base knowledge. They're just kind of building on that knowledge, and then they're producing some documents for it. So I thought that would be a little more seamless than throwing in something brand new there. And we can talk a little bit more about that as the year goes on. So there's your pacing guide. In here is what is being used for the course competencies for the interim. So in the spring of 2020, the VDOE website crashed and they are still rebuilding it. This recording is taking place in August of 2020. And my hope is that that will be something that arrives and is available for use sooner rather than later. In the meantime, what's the CT Resource has done, or VDOE has done, is they provided these links for a PDF version of the competencies. So it's nice to at least have something. It's kind of a bummer because it doesn't offer the same expansion as the website did. So typically you could click on a competency and get some additional information, maybe get some information about projects or lessons or links to other resources. And of course, with a PDF, what you see is what you get. So it does have this on here, which is helpful. It's good to have. And like I said, they've separated they're rebuilding that website. The other thing I wanted to mention, and you may notice here, is that they have removed all of the workplace readiness and aspects of industry, those first 38 competencies. VDOE has removed those out of all of our courses, so not just business courses, but all of them that are a part of what we teach in TCE. And the idea behind that was that this is something that is taught across the board, and it's not necessarily something that is intended to be taught as a standalone unit where you teach it and then you never talk about it again. So what they've done is they've just kind of pulled it out. They did provide an additional resource for this, and I'm going to show that to you here in just a minute. But just know that you'll notice that the numbers of the competencies have changed, and that's what's kind of causing a little bit of an issue with some of our other courses, is that some of them just pick up where they left off at number 39, and some of them have shifted this to 001. So the competencies haven't changed, it's just the numbering has on some of them. So, but yours should be accurate for ACIS. Those workplace readiness skills that I mentioned have also been placed into a PDF by VDOE in the interim, of course. And this does have some live links in it, so that at least is helpful. And this also explains a little bit more about what it means when they talk about demonstrating something. And that's the part that is missing from the drop-down box when you click on the competencies typically in the website for the rest of our content competencies. So these are some of those links I was talking about that will give you live links to instructional resources. So I haven't checked all of those out. They should be working because this is a brand new document as of August 2020. So let me know if you get through and some of those links aren't working or they're not leading where they should. We can let VDOE know. The other item that I put up here is a link to CTEC's website, which is really it's a landing page for you to find other materials, resources for workplace readiness. So CTEC has been around for a while, and on their website you can find information, videos and lesson plans and learning modules for all those workplace readiness skills we just talked about. But you'll also find links to other school or other states' workplace readiness resources that they've created that have been vetted and are available for use as well. So rather than overwhelm you with a bunch of different materials, I just figured I'd give you this single link. You can go check it out. I think it's going to be easier for you to look at the resources that have already been created in here and kind of incorporate them, weave them into your units as you see fit, rather than trying to create something brand new yourself. I think in a year, especially like the one that we are facing in the 2020-2021 school year, I think you're probably going to save yourself a little bit of trouble and heartburn if you look at some of those resources and find a way to work them into what you already have. Okay, the rest of these down here, you will notice in red, these are all resources for you. And before I get started with those, I just want to make a quick note of two things, and that is the advent of class links to begin with. And you'll notice I have that in parentheses right down here. The Clever platform has been replaced with a ClassLinks platform, and everything that was on Clever should now be on ClassLinks. Additionally, I've put in a request for other things that are new resources also be added. So that's like the BE publishing that we'll talk about. That's something that's new for this school year. So I've asked for that to also be added to the platform. One of the other things I wanted to mention was virtualization. So the issue that we run into with especially our CIS and ACIS and truly a lot of the other programs that we offer in TCE is that they require a Windows desktop. And the Virginia Beach school system is a one-to-one with Chromebooks, and Chromebooks just don't run a lot of the software that we need for our programs. And because we are so heavily driven by industry credentials, that was a sticking point that we have addressed this summer. So the solution that we've come up with is a virtualized desktop, a Windows desktop that has all of the software loaded onto it that the student would need for a class, just like they were going into their own lab in their own school classroom and logging in. So we're still working the kinks out. It's been a group effort between TCE and DOT this summer. We are about ready to roll it out. The objective is to have this rolled out to teachers by the start of school, and then to have it ready for student use shortly thereafter. So right now we're just going through some final testing to make sure that things like the workload is okay. It's not going to crash when a bunch of people try to log in and open up a bunch of different things. And it is not going to be limited to the number of desktops that you might have in your particular lab. This is going to be a division-wide effort. So basically, there will be pods of desktop images and based on what software is needed for the courses that you teach, your students will be able to log in and see that software. And it'll be as many desktops as we need versus the limitation of what might be just in your classroom. So you don't have to worry about, there not being enough. I know that there have been some questions about testing for Microsoft as well, and we haven't tried testing remotely with a virtualized desktop. That'll be something that we will be looking into in the fall of 2020 to see if that's even an option. But definitely we do anticipate offering certification testing this year as well. Okay, now that I've said that, I want to touch on the Microsoft exams because this is a new school year and a new Microsoft exam that we're moving toward this year. So in the 2019-2020 school year, we were still working on Microsoft 2016 suite and certifications, and over the summer we have pushed and shifted over to Office 365. So Microsoft 2019 and Office 365 are virtually the same thing. It's just that one is static and downloaded and one is not. So as you're looking on those desktops, the virtualized desktops, as well as the ones that are in your actual classrooms, you're going to notice that Office 365 is what is available for your students. When you go into your geometrics for your practice platform, when you go into the Microsoft Imagine Academy, you'll see 2019, and that's what you'll be looking for the Office 365 exam to prep for that. That'll be the same thing. So what I did is I put the Word Expert and the Excel Expert exam objectives in here for you. These are things that you could find on Certiport if you wanted, but I just thought it might be convenient for you to have it right here. So I'll let you look through those as you choose. Just know that those are in there. I'm not going to go through the geometrics with you or the Imagine Academy because the expectation really is in this advanced class, those are things that you are already familiar with. If you're not, if you are brand new to the school division and you just aren't really sure how all of that works or what the difference might be between the first and second year course, go ahead and reach out to me and I'll be happy to meet with you individually and we can kind of go through what that looks like. And I'm going to show you some stuff over here anyway. In fact, one of the things that I did for this first, for the Word unit, I'm going to show you. Usually I have you all go into the Microsoft Imagine Academy to download what you need because it's a lot of like zip files and it has all the instructor materials and the student materials and entire textbooks and things like that. So that just becomes a lot to upload into this Schoology platform. So instead, what I do is I give you access to the Microsoft Imagine Academy, and then you go in there and download what you need and organize it how you want in your Schoology course. So having said that though, I did put the first one in here so that you could kind of see what you would be looking at for the 2019. And what I think is really cool is one of the folks who worked on this is Heather Daniel, who used to be one of our teachers over at Lansdowne Elementary, or it's not elementary, sorry, Lansdowne High School. And this, of course, was something that she taught before she moved over to work for Microsoft. So anyway, when you go into Microsoft Imagine Academy and you download this material, this is what you're gonna see. And I'm gonna show you what that zip file looks like before you extract it. But this is the first thing that you'll do. And it even says read me first. That way it's real easy to know where to start. But this is all of the stuff that you will have for your Microsoft Word Expert 2019. And this is just kind of, some of it's updated, some of it is the same as what they did before for 2016. But like I said, anytime we start a new year with new with a new certification, I just like to pull that down to show you, especially if it's not something you're familiar with. But it's got lots of great information, and it rolls everything out for you step by step. So you already have your lesson plans. It's got your solution files in there. It has capstone projects in there, all of the stuff that you need. If you want to use OneNote to do your stuff, I know Heather Daniel, that's a lot of times how she would organize her class. She was a big fan of OneNote. They already have those files in there. And then however you choose to deliver it. I know a lot of times we have the ebook with the PDF, but again, completely up to you. They've got a ton of training videos. There's just so much stuff that's in here. And this is a great overview of this. And of course, they have other training videos and things that go into greater detail about how all of this works. But I wanted to at least show that part to you. Okay, so when you download this, I did upload the zip file for this one. I'm not going to click on that because that will take forever. So instead, I have one downloaded here for you. I think this is it. Here we go. Let me stop sharing this and then I can share what I have over here. Okay. Okay, so what you should be looking at right now is just the screen of the zip file that I downloaded from Microsoft Imagine Academy for the Microsoft Word Expert 2019. And you'll notice it's got, this is what we just looked at was the README first, and then they have educator and student material files. So if I click on this, you'll notice that they've got everything listed for you, everything down to even a PowerPoint that you can pull some stuff out of that will help present. And then each of these modules has all of the lessons in it, the mastery, the teaching guide, so it tells you how to step-by-step it. There's just a lot of stuff in here. And like I said, my expectation would be that you're relatively familiar with it, but I wanted to share it with you, especially because I know that one of our own helped build that. So I'm going to stop sharing that and go back to our Schoology group here real quick. Okay, so now we're back to where we were before. Like I said, this is exactly what you would be using for your to teach those that first unit with the Microsoft Word. So those resources are there for you, but the rest of them you would actually be going into Microsoft Imagine Academy to access. So there's that. The last thing that I want to share with you for the ACIS class is this BE Publishing eReadiness bundle. So BE Publishing has been around for a while, and they have lots of different resources, including a companion site. And as they were updating all of their material, this month, August of 2020, they launched an e-readiness platform. And this is just a website, but inside of the website, it's a single subscription that provides access to every title that BE Publishing offers, unlimited instructors, unlimited students, unlimited downloads. And I thought that was well worth getting a subscription and checking it out. So this really does have a cross-section of a lot of different topics, content that business teachers would cover. So it's something that I've dropped into a lot of the classes, including ACIS. I will say, as you're getting into a more advanced course and advanced content, this may not have something that is advanced enough for your students. Having said that, I still wanted to provide access for you for this because there may be something in there that you want to check out. That you can test drive this through the end of August 2020, and I do have the link to sign up for that here. I will tell you, I just got the subscription information yesterday, so I will at some point in the next few days be removing this and adding our actual subscription information so you can sign up using that. And I think that is about everything that I want to share with you over here. So I am going to thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful year.